Welcome, fact lovers. Get ready for fascinating countdown of crazy facts on the Facts Time. Episode 91.
The Great Fire of London in 1666 was started by a small flame from a bakery. It spread quickly due to wooden buildings and strong winds, destroying much of the city. Despite its massive destruction, only 6 people were recorded as having died, though the fire left thousands homeless and caused significant economic damage. The Eiffel Tower was initially intended to be temporary. Built for the 1889 World's Fair, it was meant to be dismantled afterward. However, its usefulness as a giant radio antenna saved it from demolition, and it eventually became a global icon of France. Cleopatra wasn't Egyptian. While she was born in Alexandria, Cleopatra VII was of Greek descent. She was part of the Ptolemaic dynasty, which ruled Egypt after Alexander the Great's empire split. She embraced Egyptian culture and was the first of her family to learn the Egyptian language. The oldest known "your mom" joke dates back to ancient Babylon. It was found on a 3,500-year-old tablet and suggests that humor, particularly insult-based humor, was prevalent even in ancient civilizations. The joke itself remains rather offensive, proving that even ancient cultures had a taste for edgy humor. The first recorded use of paper money occurred in China during the Tang dynasty, 618 to 907 AD. Before this, people used coins and trade. The invention of paper money revolutionized commerce, allowing for easier transactions over long distances and contributing to the development of modern economies. The shortest war in history was between Britain and Zanzibar in 1896, lasting only 38 minutes. Zanzibar's Sultan refused to step down after the British demanded he do so, leading to a brief but intense bombardment that resulted in the surrender of Zanzibar. The Trojan horse may not have been a literal wooden horse. Some historians believe the horse was a metaphor for a siege tower or a battering ram. The story of the Trojan horse comes from the Aeneid, an epic that blends history and mythology. In medieval Europe, animals were sometimes put on trial. For crimes like murder or theft, animals, like pigs or rats, were given legal proceedings, and some were even sentenced to death. This bizarre practice reflects the medieval mindset that animals could have moral agency. The Aztecs had a form of sports gambling in which warriors bet their lives. In a brutal ritual, the losing warriors in certain sports games were sometimes sacrificed to the gods. The idea was that the games were not only entertainment but a sacred offering. The world's first known computer was built in 2nd century Greece. The Antikythera mechanism, discovered in a shipwreck, is considered the first analog computer. It was used to predict astronomical positions and eclipses, and its intricate gears show an advanced understanding of technology centuries before other civilizations. In 18th century France, aristocrats used to have cheese parties. These gatherings were a bizarre mix of socializing and indulging in one of the most expensive delicacies of the time, cheese. The tradition was especially popular in Versailles, where excesses were often part of royal life before the Revolution.
Before moving to next facts, was there is a fact that amazed you? Chat with us in the comment and stay tuned subscribing to Facts Time for more facts like this.
In ancient Rome, urine was used as a mouthwash. Romans believed that the ammonia in urine had cleaning properties. They used it for everything from laundry detergent to dental hygiene, proving how resourceful and unusual Roman practices could be in everyday life. Napoleon Bonaparte was once attacked by a horde of bunnies. During a hunting expedition, Napoleon's officers released a massive number of rabbits for a controlled hunt, but the rabbits, instead of running away, charged toward Napoleon. The incident ended with him retreating to his carriage in fear. In the 18th century, European aristocrats were obsessed with tulip mania. Tulips became a symbol of wealth in the Netherlands, and their prices skyrocketed to absurd levels. The tulip bubble eventually burst in 1637, causing financial ruin for many who had invested in the flower's inflated market value. The Berlin Wall was built overnight. In August 1961, East German troops quickly constructed a barbed wire barrier, turning Berlin into a divided city. The wall became one of the most iconic symbols of the Cold War, only to fall in 1989, signaling the end of communist control in Eastern Europe. A pirate once became a legitimate governor. In the 18th century, notorious pirate Henry Morgan was knighted by the English crown and became the lieutenant governor of Jamaica. His piratical past didn't prevent him from securing a powerful position in the British colonial administration. The first recorded scientific vaccination was done in 1796. Edward Jenner used cowpox to vaccinate a boy against smallpox, launching the practice of vaccination that eventually saved millions of lives. This discovery led to the eventual eradication of smallpox in the 20th century. Vikings didn't actually wear horned helmets. Contrary to popular myth, no evidence exists that Viking warriors wore helmets with horns. The idea likely originated in the 19th century as part of romanticized portrayals in operas and literature, cementing the misconception in popular culture. The first woman to receive a medical degree was Elizabeth Blackwell in 1849. Despite immense opposition, Blackwell became the first woman to officially graduate from a medical school in the US. Her success paved the way for future women in medicine and other male-dominated professions. The ancient Romans had a form of fast food. They had eateries called thermopolia, which served hot, ready-to-eat meals, much like modern fast food restaurants. These establishments were especially popular with lower-class Romans who didn't have cooking facilities at home. Albert Einstein's brain was stolen after his death. When Einstein died in 1955, Dr. Thomas Stoltz Harvey, a pathologist, removed his brain during the autopsy without permission from the family. He kept it for decades, studying it in an attempt to find the key to Einstein's genius. The first airline was actually a hot air balloon service. In 1783, Jean-François Pilote de Rogy and François Laurent d'Arlandes made the first human flight in a hot air balloon in Paris. This marked the beginning of manned flight, long before airplanes were even conceived. The medieval Black Death may have been spread by rats, but it was fleas that carried the plague bacteria. The flea-infested rats that traveled with ships are often blamed for carrying the disease, which wiped out 1/3 of Europe's population in the 14th century. The Suffragette Fellowship began in New Zealand. In 1893, New Zealand became the first self-governing country to grant women the right to vote. This landmark decision inspired other nations to follow suit, leading to the global suffrage movement that transformed women's rights. In the 1800s, it was considered fashionable for women to faint in public. Women would often wear corsets that were so tight they could barely breathe, which contributed to frequent fainting spells. Fainting became an admired form of femininity and social decorum during the Victorian era.
That's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed this fact video, be sure to like, subscribe Facts Time for more videos like this.